good afternoon, and welcome to Youth Talk. I am your host, Mariam Smith Bastaldo, and today our topic is self-control, because we know that is one of the things that most of us as youth face. We don't know how to handle situations, and we tend to get a bit hasty, and we don't know how to deal with it. So today in studio we have with us Louis, and he is going to help us. Hopefully that he would be able to help us on understanding how to deal with situations, to have self-control in situations. So Louis.
Hello, good day, Miss Mariam.
You make me sound old, Miss.
Mariam.
Yes, we are youths together.
Yes, we are.
So can you just tell us a bit about yourself before we get into the questions?
Okay, no problem. Pleasant good evening to you. Talk, how you all doing? My name is Louis Paulson. I'm 19 years of age. Went to Roxborough Secondary. I love music. Any instrument you could think about, I can play.
Awesome.
Most of the time. Like to play pool. Is a very nice game. And badminton. Yeah,
what is badminton?
Badminton is the like the racket and the little light.
Table tennis?
No,
something like
lawn tennis, but with the light.
With the kind of netball thing. Yeah, the kind of, yeah.
Oh, and I like to play table tennis too.
I can play table tennis.
Yeah, with your legs.
Oh my. Oh goodness.
Yeah. So that's most likely my hobbies and stuff, and basically my life.
All right. And has these hobbies been able to help you, relieve stress, or in any situation that you might have been in, you could just go and play?
Yes, the badminton. The badminton was a really good stress reliever, because I had to put an effort into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is awesome that you channel that, emotion in that way.
Yes, it was a good form of self-control.
Sweet. Yeah. So we're getting into our questions now.
Cool.
So I'm just letting you know that I might ambush you with a couple questions.
Okay.
Number one, our first question is, what is meant by self-control?
Basically, to be able to handle situations without resorting to anger, being able to stay humble, and just trying to resolve the situation in the smoothest way possible, easiest way possible.
All right, and one question that I want to ambush you with is, why is it that youths are not able to handle situations without anger? Why is it that most times, especially young men, most times you find that they would get hasty and they would start fighting?
I guess because they want to be much male on a whole. They need, sometimes in their mindset, does have to be dominant. That would just be in their mindset.
Like the alpha male.
Yeah, alpha male. They always have to be on top of things and things. And if somebody else try to want to throw you off at that alpha male position, that's then for you to lash out. But sometimes lashing out is not always the solution.
Right.
You have better ways to handling any kind of solution. Staying calm, talk it out. Some people doesn't want to talk things out, but sometimes that is the best way.
Yes.
Right? So that is one of the examples, and then I think that, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of them do it to gain respect.
Yes.
But what I always say is, the way to gain respect is not by being able to dominate somebody or being able to have control over that person, in a sense, more like a physical control. That is not the way that, one should gain respect. How I think that one should gain respect, this is just my opinion, is in the way that you carry about yourself, the way that you deal with things, I would say every day. Because if it is, for instance, in the home, if a parent wants to gain, control over that child, or to gain respect from that child, you find most of the times the parents would either be probably always beating on that child, or not even the right way, because the Bible did say, I think it's Proverbs 15:22 says that foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. So the Lord did give instructions, where we could deal with the children in the right way. But some parents tend to resort in a more like a fist fight with the child. Even babies, children, 2, 3, 4. You find that the parents would be pounding on them, and then the child would then grow up with that fear in them for the parents.
The parents didn't have self-control
right.
into handling a situation.
And then the child then grows up with that same way of dealing with the situation. So most of the times, that's how you find youths. This
handle all the situation. That would feel that would be the way to handle all the situation, because they grew up with that.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yes. So just a little word for the parents. Sometimes we would find, even in the schools, that the children are very hasty, and they behave in this way, like animals, as we would say, because it's not normal for human beings to be beating on each other in that way. And sometimes this all depends on how the child is being trained up in the home, and even if it is, Louis, even if it is that a child is trained up the right way, you find that they would stray from that training, and they would get off course. But the Bible says that if you train up a child in the way he's to go, when he gets old, he will not depart from it. It's not saying that the child would not, be influenced otherwise than the way that you would train that child. There will be different influences, and, they would bad company or peer pressure. I wouldn't get into those other things much because they are topics for other times.
Yes,
but parents need to really pay attention to their children. Because, I grew up in a single parent home, and my mother, we didn't know anything about sitting down on the side of the road or going up by the block and liming and them thing. And even now that we are old, you find I don't even like to walk up the road to go in the shop. So the Bible speaks about training up your child in the way that he's to go, so that when he's old, he will not depart from it. So what you instill in a child from that very tender age is what that child would then grow up in. And even if that child is to stray from that teaching, they will get back on track. They will get back on track. Because if it was impossible, then it would not have been in the Bible.
Yes, very true.
Right. Hence the reason the word backslide. Yeah, because a lot of people backslide and then they come back on track. So, no, I'm not saying it's okay to backslide, So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's okay to backslide. You have to stay focused, keep in the Lord, especially us as youths, and
have self-control.
And have self-control. Not because a friend is doing something, it means that you have to jump on that train. Because you don't know if that train is going to hit a brick wall, So you need to, some youths find it hard to be different. It is okay to be different, because us as youths, in the Lord, is supposed to be set apart. Everybody's supposed to see that difference in us. And?
Yes.
Yeah? Yes, everybody's supposed to. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a beacon in the darkness. Well, I guess we explained a lot. My next question was supposed to be, why is it necessary for us as youths to have self-control?
Well, it's very important to have self-control, because as a young person, opportunities may arise, and you need to have self-control, because let us say that your future boss or employer was in the same place with you, that you have some kind of conflict and you lash out or some kind of thing, and you don't handle that situation well, and you don't control yourself. Obviously, you lose out on that opportunity to be employed by that said employer.
That's right.
It was not
able to control
yourself.
True.
Yeah.
All right. So on to our next question. What does the Bible say about self-control? And as we get on to this next question, what does the Bible say about self-control? I thought about the fruits of the Spirit.
Yes.
Right, the fruits of the Spirit. In Galatians chapter 5, 22 to 23, it's love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Now, there is this book that my daughter has at home, and they have it a little different. It's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. Yeah, and self-discipline. So they have it a little bit different, but it's basically the same thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's expatiate a bit more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But self-control is one of the fruits of the Spirit. And if us as youths, we're walking in Christ, then we're supposed to be walking, in the fruits of the Spirit. So that means we're supposed to have self-control.
Yes, very true, very true. Because as a Christian, some people just want to take advantage of certain situations, and you just have to just have that self-control to navigate through that situation, because it'll be really difficult at times.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have certain things you could get away from,
and it's true because, well, sometimes people even tend to go as far as saying you're supposed to be a Christian and you're not supposed to, get angry, or you're not supposed to. Now listen, there is love, there is sadness, there is happiness. All those are emotions. And anger is an emotion, that I believe. Now, if I'm saying something wrong, whichever minister is listening, you can contact me at 394-7229 and correct me. But I believe that anger is an emotion that God created. God created that emotion just as the way there is sadness or, and other things.
Yes.
But he did say in his word that we could get angry, but do not sin.
Very true.
Yes. So I believe, no, I'm not saying it's okay to just get angry just like that, but we then have to have that level of self-control when anger does arise, because there are situations where you get that squeeze that you will get angry. And that is why we have a lot of killings and people being hospitalized, or somebody's house might get burnt down because somebody could not control themselves. And most of the times where we have situations like that, it's always a youth within the age bracket, maybe say 15 to 35, that would commit these foolishness, so what do you have to say about this, Lou? I ambushed you, I know. I did say that I would ambush you.
You really did. Felt a grenade at me. Well, it all come back to being brought up from young. If the parents never used to control themselves while in the presence of the youth,
the child could then have those behaviors, because children learn from what they see.
And sometimes it'll be twice as bad. So if in the event that there was handling a situation and they get out of hand, and the child see it fit to be angry just to self-soothe themselves, they will go ahead and do anything to just try to calm themselves down.
Right.
But you have better ways. You always have another way, an alternative to handling anger and controlling yourself. There's always another way. Sometimes my way not gonna be your way, and your way wouldn't be my way. But we all have to find a way to control ourselves and keep things on a low.
Right, that's true.
Yes.
And as you were talking there about the child, self-soothing themselves with whatever portion of anger, that is, I thought about kids throwing a tantrum. They put a nice word to it, tantrum. Now, I don't believe that a child should be allowed to throw a tantrum, especially when there's a situation where the parent would talk to that child, because tantrums happen between the ages maybe 2 to about 5. I have 3 kids, and I've never had any of my children throw a tantrum, because I've trained them from they're 6 months old, and I see they start having these behaviors. I give them the finger and I say, no, that is not, no, you know? So they understand from small, yeah. If I take something from you and you start shaking up, I give them the finger from small. From about 6 months old, I start that with my kids. So my children don't know anything about throwing a tantrum and lying down on the floor and screaming and bawling. Yeah, that I don't believe that is the way children should be. You know, children should not be allowed to throw tantrums. Now, as you get older, you will be allowed to say, well, mommy, such and such, I don't like this, or I don't like that, or daddy. You know, that is fine, but throwing a tantrum is not acceptable. Because then, if you allow them to do that from small, as they get older, you find that that tantrum then develops. Yeah. And all them kind of things. Graduates to hitting another child, graduates to hitting the teacher.
Or even hitting by the parents.
Right. So, parents, we need to be careful, especially us as parents in Christ. We need to be careful, because then a lot of us don't like giving the child that rod of correction.
True.
Because, all right, look at this situation. If you have a tomato tree and you leave that tomato tree to just grow, that tomato tree will be bent all that way. If you don't put that stick and tie that thing on a branch or something, you know, you would have a crooked tree. And then when the tomato tree gets like about yay high, how would you then straighten that tree? You will break it.
Because it grew into that.
That's right, it was molded that way. Because you can't take you can't bend an old oak tree if it's grown this way or that way. You gotta leave it that way. If you try to straighten it, it will be broken. So we need to then train our children, parents. We need to then train our children, our youths. Don't wait until they get to that age of 4, 5, 6 to then start instilling certain things in them. I know that I am young, but a lot of, tips that I use with my children is, number 1, no tantrums are allowed. No tantrums. You just give them the eye. And and my daughter, she's 6, she would be like telling my other son, RJ, mommy looking at you. And she straightened up one time, mommy looking at you. And then he would sit down and, the eye works wonders. So, train them up in that way that whenever you carry them in public, and they do it, you could just look at them and they know that look. Yeah.
Sometimes the parents and them do train them from young, and when they go out in the public and they throw the tantrum in the public, is that when you want to discipline them and want to do extra damage.
Yeah.
Because they disrespect you in front of everybody. That is what you call plasma.
Oh my.
Yeah. And the parents also want to go and be all out on them.
Beat that child in public.
Yeah.
Then police get involved, social welfare get involved, say you abuse the child.
Because they didn't start training them home from early.
Right. But Louis, it is really wonderful and I am enjoying this, but we are out of time.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So I am hoping that whatever was said here today, that you all learned a lot from it. We didn't get a chance to go through all our questions for you, and hopefully we would have you back on another time. And this always happens. At times it's just run out so fast. So we have topics that we would have to continue. And if there is any topic that you would want discussed, you could WhatsApp me at 394-7229. you know, and let me know what topics you want discussed, and we will get to that. And parents, as I have continued saying, get your kids ready for Little Beauties for Jesus. Get them ready with their songs, their dance, their poems, their spoken words, whatever their talents are. Get them ready. And why don't you check out Bastaldo's Fabrication Services at number 22 Nursery School, Trace and Lambo, or you can contact them at 635-1911 or 3906-482. Bastaldo's Fabrication Services for all your welding, fabrications, glass installations. Even if you want a glass podium built, you can check out that lovely podium at the Healing Tabernacle Ministries International in Lambo, or you can check out the lovely podium at Pastor Bain's New Heritage Christian Fellowship. Those were done by Bastaldo's Fabrication Services. And you want your roof work done, just contact Bastaldo's Fabrication Services and find out if we can do whatever you need. And this was Youth Talk. I am your host, Mariam Smith Bastaldo, and see you here next Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Have a blessed evening.